Alright, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Big Clamp 250 man, 250 Club, Lot Squad, we in the building. Before we get started, I just want to thank everybody, that's watched my last few videos. I haven't posted in about a week or so, but I just wanted to go ahead and talk to y'all about something me and the guys were discussing the other day. If you've been playing 2K since, I want to say 2K19 and before, you know that 2K used to have archetypes in the game, right? And pretty much what happened was in 2K16 and 2K17, before there were archetypes, you used to just be able to make your build however you wanted to, 99 on whatever you wanted to be, right? Whatever long wingspan, didn't matter. People didn't like it. People, we obviously realized how OP that was. And 2K, in response, created the archetype system. And basically what that was is you have players, your player can only do a certain set of things good, and depending on which things you chose to do good, those dictated what your build was and what badges you had, right? At that point, I think that was around 2K18, 2K19. The archetype system was in full effect. I think near 2K19, people started, saying that, hey, we want more control over our builds and how we make them. That was kind of like a big thing. 2K, I think, seeing that as an opportunity to kind of change the game up a little bit. So in 2K20, they started bringing in pie charts. And what the pie charts did was you can have your guy do a lot of different things good, and he might have one deficiency, right? Maybe one thing he doesn't do good at all, one thing he does average, and then two things he does really elite, right? And then 2K21 next gen, they re-ramped the whole build process and how you made your builds, and they kind of made it to where your player could be good at pretty much everything. But I think as we moving into 2K22, right, and we're seeing a lot of the exploits that are going on, such as like the left-right cheese and other exploits that are going on, I started to ask myself, and I started asking the guys, right? It feels like for some reason, ever since 2K19, and even more so when 2K20, it just got expanded for some reason. It feels like the top tier players in the game, all the competition as far as the comp scene, everybody uses the same builds and the same play style. This is something to me that's been going on before 2K22, before the left-right cheese that we have now in the game, because that's left-right has really always been there. It's just gotten more of the meta now because of how slow the game speed is now, and the buff to unpluckable now, you can't really rep them when they're going left and right super fast, but that's a whole different story. Now it feels like everybody is running the same builds, kind of wanting to make their players the same and run the same style of basketball, doing that. And I kind of asked the guys, it felt like, just maybe to me, it felt like the archetype system allowed for different play styles. Like, okay, remember if you was playing 2K19 and before, like when the archetype system was out, yes, it was, different metas that were going on, but it felt like you really didn't know who you were running to or what type of team you was running into. You could run into a team with a sharpshooting playmaker, a lockdown, and a glass cleaner, right? You could run into a team with a sharpshooting playmaker or two locks. Run into a team with two sharpshooting playmakers and one lock, or three lockdowns, or a slasher even running point guard that can shoot, or you have a rim protector that can shoot threes. Paint post scores. It felt like you never knew what you was gonna run into. Not even mentioning the point forwards. Back in 2K19, I thought the point forwards was a good build. It felt like it was just a lot more play styles, and then the sharpshooters running, off the off ball screens from the glass cleaners or the bigs or whatever. You had your stretch playmakers, or your stretch fours or whatever, that could also make space for ISO play. it felt like a lot of different styles of play. I think with the archetype system, it going away and people making their builds, you know, kind of to do everything, it kind of made for, you know, bad gameplay in my opinion. Like you can't win now unless you're playing a certain way. You can't win at a high percentage now unless you're playing a certain way, right? If you go in the park now, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you don't have a small guard that can run, you know, do the left-right cheese behind a big set in the pick, 9 times out of 10 you're gonna lose if you run into that. And there's really, like, you can, you know, play good side defense, a lot of that, but honestly it's just so much harder, right, to go against that now if you're not running that play style. Like the only good way to beat that play style is to honestly have somebody that can do it better. And I feel like that's taking a lot away from the game itself, because it's not promoting different play styles and different ways in order to play good basketball, right? It's only really promoting one way of playing basketball. That's why you see a lot of these guys are running the same builds and running the same play style. And it doesn't matter whether you are on 2s, 3s, or even 5s in the record pro-am, you're still gonna see the same thing. I think that's one of the things that I think maybe we took archetypes for granted, honestly. You know, the build system, it sounded like a really good idea when it came out, and I still think it is a good idea to some extent. But you know, the way it is now, I mean, if 2K doesn't change this gameplay, is this really better than the archetype system back in 2K19? You know, I think back then, you know, even though it was less builds you could make, it felt like, you know, you could have so many different play styles. You could have so many different play styles. You know, back in 2K19, I had a lockdown, I had a point forward, I had a slasher. You know, I could do stuff outside of my build because I had the skill to do it, right? And if you ran into other people, you know, that had slashers, but they could shoot 3-pointers, or, you know, other people that could do stuff outside of their build, even though it was an archetype system. That's something that, you know, it's surprising to me that it's like that. And, you know, let's see what 2K does. Will they ever go back to the archetype system? I'm not sure. You know, I feel like they make a lot of money off of how the build system is set up now. You guys know 2K is super money hungry. And it's honestly, it's just getting worse, really. But we'll see, do they ever go back to that? You know, I would love to change, honestly, back to archetype system. I think that would take a lot of the cheese that you see now in the gameplay. I think that would take a lot of that out if you have specific archetypes. And honestly, I think you'll see a lot more of that going back to different play styles, whether it be off ball, ISO, screenplay, post scoring dominance. Because back then on 2K19, you could bring a post scorer to the threes, and your post scorer could be dominant on the threes court if he knew what he was doing. Now, obviously, he'd probably be more dominant on the 2s or the 1s, but still on the 3s, he could, you know. Now, really, you go to the park now or just run 3s in general, you don't see too many bigs really dominating on the 3s court now. You see bigs now on the 3s, they're either spotting up for a 3-point shot, or most of them are just setting screens for the guard to run left and right until they get open. You know what I mean? So, yeah, let me know in the comment section what you guys think about the whole, you know, that whole talk and that whole discussion. Let me know what you guys think if you played 2K19 before when they had archetypes. Was archetypes actually better for the game, or do you think the build system is better now? And you know, just your whole overall thoughts about it, man. So with that being said, I appreciate it if you guys, you know, like the video, share the video, and I appreciate everybody for watching, man. Till next time, it's your boy Big Clamp. I'll see you guys later.